Was that okay?
Yeah, I just knew I was probably going to end up crying.
Hi, I'm Melony.
Hi, I'm Molly, and welcome to our channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We're enjoying you being here with us.
Yes, we are. Today we're doing something different. We're just going to have a little chat, and I'm going to try to make it short and sweet, but I'm just wondering if somebody might need to hear this. So today we are going to talk about going through grief at Christmas. Now, I told y'all one of these days I'm going to do the funny side of grief, because there is a funny side. Things that you just have to laugh about. Today's is not funny. I'll save that for maybe January or February, because at this time of year, for people who have lost, it just puts a big old accent mark on it that there's somebody missing.
It does.
It really does. And so I thought there are websites you can go to that will, give you 5 tips on how to grieve and all of those things. And I probably could have gone and gotten something a whole lot better than what I'm going to say
off of the Google.
But I just thought I would just speak from personal experience and to also acknowledge that the way I grieve and the loss I had is not your loss, and it's not necessarily the way you would grieve.
Your process.
Yeah, it's just so different for everybody. But I wanted to talk about just how we got through it when I lost Molly's dad and the father of my 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in September. So I remember Thanksgiving kind of being the first holiday to go through without him being
and your
there.
birthday.
Yeah, but
I know it's not a holiday, but it was like your birthday was in October, the month.
I don't even remember that.
Well, I'm sure it was a blur. Because
probably was.
Anyway.
But I do remember Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to find a picture, because I have seen some pictures that we took at that time, and I know that you were trying to make me laugh, because I can look at myself and see that I'm smiling, but I can remember how sad I was.
Well, yeah.
But you were trying so hard. I think we were over here when it was grandmother's.
Yeah.
And I could tell, and you were trying so hard to keep me up, So
hard. It's a hard thing to do.
It's a hard thing to do when you lose somebody and you in the beginning don't know where your next breath is going to come from, how you're going to make it through the hour, how you're going to make it through the day, through the funeral, through everything. And yet there's one thing about grieving, is that you really don't have any choice in it. Life keeps on going when you just wish that it would stop, but it doesn't. It just keeps on going. And so somehow you have to just figure out a way to get through it. And so my number one thing that I will have to say is it was my faith in God. It got serious for me then. And I had to really think about, okay, I believe in God, but do I believe Him when He says, I won't ever leave you or forsake you, or I'm the healer of the brokenhearted? It really became real to me during that time. So I really leaned into my faith, and am thankful for that. The second thing that I just remember thinking is I did not want this loss in my life of someone so precious to me. I did not want it to become my identity. And some of you may know, and you may know people who get stuck. They have a crisis, and that's sort of who they became. And I didn't want for you kids, or for me, for people to say, there's Melony, she lost her husband. I wanted to be beyond. I wanted to move beyond that, and that not be my identity, was the young widow woman with the 5 kids. I wanted to be Melony still, and I didn't know what Melony was going to be without.
It was interesting seeing Melony become, we were as your kids, and how Dad was in the family. Yeah. And then the ways that you kind of blossomed in ways that Dad always knew you were, but we never got to see that side.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then she's just someone who pursues joy and that's what she wants in life, and so she pursues it, is to have joy.
And I think you bring up a good point, which is one of mine. In the beginning, I knew I had to choose to be happy, choose to be joyful, and I think the word would be joy, because happy is like, and some days you don't feel it.
Happy is me getting my BoxyCharm and finding something good.
But I had to choose to find joy, and I had to wake up every day and make that a decision. So I also knew, and this is one of probably my biggest reasons, I knew that the best way that I could honor that man's life was for me to live my life well. And I knew that there would be nothing that would have made him happier than to see me moving on and doing well. And so I really decided that my life at that time, that's the way I was going to honor him. I was going to rise up, and I was going to honor him in the things that I did and the things that I said and the way I continued to raise our children. And so that was a huge reason for me. Some people now say it's my why, but it was one of my whys is I wanted to bring him honor. I wanted to do that. So when it's the holiday time, I know that can make things so much more intense. There's just such an awareness of an empty place at the table, or
just the way that things have changed.
Yeah, and who likes change?
And it won't.
Not many
changing.
people, and it's just such an awareness of that. So for all of y'all going through this right now, it's healthy to grieve, and it doesn't quit overnight. In fact, that just never goes away. But grieving is just a process you need to get through. So accept yourself for how you grieve, and don't feel pressured and torn and obligated to do things that maybe you just don't feel like doing right now. I remember those days being absolutely excruciating. I really remember feeling like physical pain in my heart, just breathing in and breathing out. And although I think I looked very together on the outside, I remember there were times when I just was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I remember one night going home after us all getting together, and I literally stood out in the yard and looked up at the sky, and I just screamed, I want him back. I want him back. I want him back now, God. And that's just how you feel, but it's part of it. All of that is part of it.
I should have got Kleenexes.
I wanted to stay in bed, but I couldn't. I had Sam and Daisy.
If you want me to go get you one just in case?
I'll be good. I wanted to stay in bed, but I needed to get up and take care of two little kids that missed their dad, and I needed to get them clothed and off to school or whatever that was. So God is good in that He gives us things we need to do just to live and keep going, and it may be a pet or a child or a neighbor or something that you can do for somebody. That was one of the things that got me through it, was trying to get outside of myself and think, I'm hurting, but there are other people hurting too, and there are other people that need too. Is there any way that I can play a part in making something better for someone else? Because in doing that, it made it better for me. So I would say give yourself permission to do things different. It doesn't have to be the same. You may need to go somewhere different for Christmas this year, or my goodness, it's different all the way around anyhow.
Yeah.
So I just know that it can just be so depressing, especially this year. So my heart goes out for people that the grief is fresh, and you just have to find your spot. sometimes at night when you go to bed, you just kind of have to toss and turn and wriggle in and find that sweet spot before you can finally rest. And I think the grieving process is a lot of wriggling and tossing and turning and pacing until you get to the other side of it. And I'm not sure that you really get to the other side. You just learn to live with the scar of loss. That's just how it is. This is one of the big things. If you've got someone and you know you're going to be around them for the holidays, I loved it when people talked about my late husband, about Kent, when they said his name, and when they said, oh, I remember when, or this was funny, or I love talking to him about that, or do you remember the time he did such and such? I cherish those friends who weren't afraid to mention his name to me. It felt good when people talked about him.
I think that people don't realize if you've not experienced it and you're around someone, like you say, giving permission that they want to usually they want to hear that lost one's name.
Yeah.
And a story, something to make you smile, or, oh, if Kent were here, he'd probably say this, or...
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay if in response they need to shed a tear or two. Like, it might be awkward, but it'll be appreciated.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about awkward.
Yeah.
I can still remember the two people that first showed up after your daddy died at the house. Bob and Anna.
Oh.
What was there to say?
What is there to say? I know.
They loved him. I loved him. We all loved him.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what they said or what we said. I remember them standing there.
And if they're worried about what they said, then now they know. You don't even remember it. You're just glad for their presence.
And that would probably be one of my last and final points is your presence. I think would be appreciated more than anything. Don't feel like you have to give unsolicited advice. Sometimes the most discouraging things for me to hear at that time in my life were things like, well, it was God's will, or now he's an angel watching over you. Those were things that I
hated being told.
Those were things that didn't help. It was people that came and they brought a casserole. I don't even know if we ate the casserole, but they brought something and they were just there. Mm-hmm. They were just living, breathing people that loved us. And that made everything as good as it could be.
One of the things that, talking about presents, is I was working at Starbucks at the time, and there was this guy who'd come in, and he was always studying. He's one of those who just, I think, loved to be in school, and he was always getting his next degree. And I could just go sit at his table. His name was Joe, and I could just go sit at his table if I was on break or if I just needed to get out and just be around people but didn't really want to talk, and I could just sit there while he studied. And it was literally, he didn't feel like he had to say anything, and he would chit-chat a little bit, but he was fine just letting me sit there and even not talking. And that was just, like, I remember it all these years later. It was so important to me.
That's a gift.
It is.
That's a gift. And I think it's okay to say to people, I don't know what to say to you.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to you. And
other than I'm here, and if you want me to sit here and not say anything at all, I can do that.
Yeah. No, I have seen where they'll say, be specific about how you can offer help.
Yeah.
Like, I can bring you a casserole next week. I think I would have said, oh no, don't worry about it. I love the people who just did it.
Yeah.
They didn't say, how can I help you? They just said, I can come tomorrow and do your laundry. Okay. Okay,
and I don't feel like I'm good at that.
I'm not good at it either, and it makes me disappointed in myself at times that even experiencing loss, it's still hard for me to know what to,
because I don't want to inconvenience anyone.
Yeah, but one of the good memories I have is of Marge and Maynard.
Yeah?
Yeah. They came and they said, Melony, we want to take Sam and Daisy to go see the Christmas lights. and we'll be there at such and such time. And I remember just being so grateful to them for doing something kind of normal in the Christmas season for my 2 kids. I guess Sam was 9 and Daisy maybe 6 or 7.
Something like that.
Yeah, depending on how the birthdays fell. And I was so grateful for that. But I was also grateful for the time that I had just alone, that I could just think my own thoughts and just grieve the way that I needed to grieve. And so I appreciated that very much. Let me see if there's anything else on my list. I was thinking also about my friend Cindy Sumter, who we lost about, what was it, a month ago now? I don't know. But she passed away from COVID. Beautiful, beautiful friend of mine, and our kids were friends. And although time had passed because life changes and we went in different directions and all, I remember after your daddy died, she went with me when I needed to find a new vehicle.
Yeah.
Now that is kind of a funny thing in a way, but she went with me to go car shopping because my car kept breaking down. I didn't have anybody to come get me off the side of the road anymore.
We would have gotten you off the side of the road.
Well, y'all were.
I know
You were college and you know, you older kids were. Y'all. It was a hard time on that. So she took me, and I went and looked for cars, and I came home with that huge. Do you remember this? I had a huge honking truck. This big, huge. It may have been a dually or something.
I don't remember this. I mean, things were a blur for us too.
And looking back, I don't remember her ever saying, "This doesn't really seem like something you'd want." She just went with me, and she allowed me to experience this, and we ate lunch or whatever.
Were you thinking of Daddy? Like, let me get a...
So I got home, and I looked at that truck, and I could bear, you know, you had to fall out of it onto the ground practically. It was up so high, and I realized I have bought your dad a truck. That's what I have done. I have bought your dad a big old
and see, that would have made him laugh.
Like he would have wanted if he had been around. But then funny. I looked at it and I thought, but this isn't what I need.
No,
so I remember I called her the next day and I said, I've made a big mistake. I bought Kent a truck, not me a vehicle. And she knew. She already knew. She just knew that was something that I just kind of had to work through myself. So just being present with somebody is awesome. And I hope and pray that those of y'all that have experienced loss this year, I pray that your faith will sustain you through it, and happy memories, and finding joy of having the privilege to go on and to make a difference in the world, and to know that you're making that person proud and that you're honoring their life.
Do you ever feel, was there ever a moment where you felt like because you were laughing or enjoying your moment that took away? Like, do you ever feel like you're not supposed to laugh because Kent is gone?
No, just because I knew him.
Yeah.
I knew there would be nothing worse if he knew that I was just so sad all the time, which there's nothing wrong with being sad. And I
well, like you say, everyone's process
he would have given
different.
me permission to grieve. But there was something about when I smiled or when I laughed, I felt like I was overcoming. I was overcoming that darkness and that loss from cancer, and you know, it was like, he would like this. He would be glad that I'm sitting around the table at Thanksgiving or at Christmas, and we're eating the casseroles and we're visiting and we're playing the silly games, and he would be glad that people were hugging me and that we were coming together as a family. So the grieving process isn't always pretty, and one of these videos I am going to go through some of the things that I just kind of went through after I lost him.
I hope you do.
Yeah.
Because it really is funny.
Yeah, there are some funny
Yeah.
funny things about it.
Oh my
But
goodness.
this time of year, I didn't want to make light of it because some people are just, they're just undone by what they've
In the
gone
valley?
through. I remember just feeling like I've never been on a ship, but I just felt like I just didn't have my balance. I was just off. And it takes time to feel like you've got your feet back on the ground. So this video, I hope that would help someone in some way to either get through the season of grief of your loss, or to be an encouragement to somebody who has faced a loss this year, and know that you can get beyond it. So my prayer is that your faith will sustain you in happy memories, and finding joy, making a choice to say, this is a dark place where I am right now, but with God's help and with the help of family and friends, I'm going to get through it. What do you think?
I think that sounds pretty good.
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Am I going to cry? You know I haven't had my
'cause
anxiety medicine for 2 nights.
I really, if this doesn't work out, it's a lot. Because it is serious. I mean, this isn't the funny one.
I'm sure you'll make me laugh at some
No,
point.
I don't think I will.
Well, then you'll make me cry.
No, I think we should just think that somebody might need to hear this.
The mower guy is going next door, so I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. All right. Are we ready?
Should we start off really sad? We got 3 seconds to get him.
No. No. We're just going to start off normal.
Oh, okay.
Was that okay?
Yeah, I just knew I was probably going to end up crying.
All right. So do you want to go to Toot Toots or cook?
Are we cooking in my kitchen?
Well, where else will we cook?